All right, so we'll get started. This is a meeting of the Rutland Zoning Board of Appeals. Present are Vice Chair Chris Senical, Robert Paulson, Arthur Wells, Paul Corain, Jacob Morris, Tamika Murphy, Secretary. I'm Rick Surratt. My name is right on there. So the first item on the agenda is a petition. It's an application for variance. David Westerman, 7 Tanglewood Circle, and the proposal is to build a detached one-car garage. Um, and the relief sought is 10 feet of the 20-foot side setback. So I've got the document in front of me. I think we all have it. It, uh, it I'll just go over the standards really quickly. To be granted a variance, the petitioner must establish that owing to circumstances relating to soil conditions, shape, or topography of such land or structures, and especially affecting said land or structures, but not affecting generally the zoning district in which it is located, a literal enforcement of the provision of the bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, and that desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. And what is listed here is there is no way to build a garage on either side of the property without a variance for a side setback. Okay, so we might ask the petitioner to expand on that a little bit. Um, Before we hear from the petitioner, Chris, or would you like to say anything at this point?
I know I really don't have any comments, and I reviewed the plans and doesn't and actually looked at the went to physically look at the property. So really nothing, no major issues stand out.
Okay. Would anyone else on the board like to comment at this time?
Yeah, Rick, it's in my neighborhood. I'm familiar with the property. There is no other way to build this, put a garage on there, the way the property is laid out. So they are correct in that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So um, we will hear from the petitioner. Mr. Lucier, could you explain to us exactly what the hardship is? We understand you don't have enough room.
Well, the hardship, I never really did a zoning board appeals for the hardship, but as far as I can see, the homeowner, wants to have a garage like a lot of the properties on that street have. And the way that this house is located, there's only, well, the problem is you can have a attached garage has to be 20 feet, right? If it was unattached, we could have 10 feet, but there's still not enough room to attach it. You'd only end up being about a foot or two away from the house. So either way, there was no way of making a single or a attached or unattached garage for the property.
Okay. All right. I see a number of drawings attached to the petition, but one thing that I was looking for that I didn't see was an actual plot plan, which actually showed the property, the abutting property in a detail, and it would show exactly where the garage was going to go on that plot.
Right. I looked for the plot plan. I was on the registry of deeds. I was trying to find a plot plan. The homeowner doesn't have a copy of it with a tape survey or anything on it. And, honestly, I didn't really want to get in surveys involved if it wasn't going to happen. And we don't want to spend a lot of money if we knew we couldn't get it done regardless. So I kind of did this just to kind of get the meeting going to see what the feedback was.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Chris, what are you thinking, Chris, at this point?
And Rick, just to the plot plan layout, he does. It's not a technical plot plan, but he does have a map of the neighborhood.
Yes, I saw. Yeah.
He drew in the house, and it's I don't know if it's the scale. It doesn't really look like it's the scale. But it pretty much gives you the general idea of where that home sits in relation to the other houses in that neighborhood, directly next to them and across the street. If you'll notice, the one thing I noticed from looking at it, the property that'll be closest to the lot line where we need the variance, that house is set back, and this house is on a little bit of an angle, so it's kind of like an L shape, not quite an L, but a little 45 shape. So, I mean, this garage is really not going to interfere, with this other abutting house. I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with it. I kind of get the gist of where it is. To Paul's point, if you look at the property, you really see there's just nothing else they can do. From a hardship point of view, it somewhat fits that bill where I just don't know where else you'd put the garage, and I certainly don't see it as a detriment to the rest of the neighborhood where it looks like some of the people might have already gotten some variances. I don't know, Paul, maybe you got a better idea of that, but
Okay.
anyways, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, we did issue a variance to it was Bob Gonzalez a few years ago, wasn't it?
I'd have to research that. I don't know.
Gonzalez, but they put an addition on the house, a couple down. There was an addition that was done. Last name Gonzalez there. That was
Yeah, it
Bill
sounds,
Gonzalez. I'm sorry, not Bob. Bill Gonzalez.
sounds familiar.
So what are those circles mean, Rick?
I was just showing properties that already look like they were closer than, within
Right.
the 10 feet of those ones on the road.
That's what I thought. So,
Yeah.
they probably got variances then, that's what we're saying?
I was just assuming they would, because if you look at the property lines when you drive by, you can even tell that, it's pretty hard to get a lawnmower by some of them in there. They're in there. So I
Right.
just, it was already.
All right, have, to Mr. Lucio, have you spoken to your neighbors or butters about this
So-
project?
So I'm the actual builder. Dave Westerman is the owner.
Yes.
I don't know if Dave is there. I don't know. I think he did talk to some, but Dave is there somewhere, I think.
All right, can we ask David if he's there, Mr. Westerman, if you've talked to your butters, your neighbors?
Yes, I have.
And what's the feedback then?
No one has a problem. Several people have built garages, and I spoke to all my neighbors. No one has a problem with it.
Okay. Okay,
I can confirm that, Rick. A couple of the neighbors I've talked with that I'm friends with have actually said that they have no issue with it.
They're all notified for the meeting, right?
Yeah, they should have been.
Yep, the abutter notices went out a couple weeks ago and there was actually quite a few and we didn't hear back from anybody.
I have video now. I can actually see you guys.
Oh,
This is the first time I've ever Zoomed, so I gotta tell you.
okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's like, this is a weird format, so it's all new territory for everybody. All right, so before we go any further, I do have a letter dated December 1st from the planning board. It's I don't think it's from the planning board. I think it's from the town planner, David George. I'll just read it. It's very brief. So this is dated yesterday. After reviewing the above matter on November 24th, 2020, the planning board did not have any comments. The planning office, which I take to mean David George, briefly reviewed the application. The office recommends the board consider getting more information from the applicant to support the variance finding of fact. So in other words, I read that as they wanted more information on the hardship, which is why I asked, and I think we have explored the hardship issue a little bit. So does anybody else on the board think that we need to explore this letter from David George or any of the hardship issues further at this point?
Rick, I just got a couple of quick questions. I just want to confirm with the applicants, that's town sewer up there, correct?
Yes.
And that's town water as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's no issues, guys, where they put the garage as far as too close to a septic or a well or something like that. So that's all.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, all right. I think all right. Are there any abutters here who would like to be heard?
I know they sent a letter out saying if anybody wanted to be heard about the issue. I don't think that I know of anybody did.
All right, so I'm looking at the list of participants and I don't see any abutters, so and plus Tamika has indicated that she hasn't heard from anybody. All right, so why don't we close this off to public discussion? Do we need to take a vote to close this off, or do we want to leave it
Yeah.
open?
You have to take a motion to close the hearing.
All right, so are
I'll
we
motion to close the hearing.
all right, to cut, all right, okay, okay.
Well, second,
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.